What's up, everybody? We are live. This is the When Toons Combine, the Cartoon Classic. I am, of course, Dutchie. I can't tell the difference between a bath mat and a bed. So perfect way to start the show. And no, you are not seeing things. Dizzle is here with me. These are four of his favorite cartoons, so he wanted to be on. I didn't have to force him. I didn't have to beg him.
Three of them are Spider-Man can eat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all right, so you just kind of gave things away a little bit. But yes, I am Dutchie. This is Dizzle. Yeah. Joining us as always, Money E. He's not really in a talking mood now because I told him he can't use decimals for this show. He'll get over it. Sean, of course, is with us as always.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah. And joining us again is Dave.
How's it going?
Pretty good. All right. So get into it because we got a lot to get to. As we do usual. This is the Cartoon Classic on When Toons Combine. This is the superhero / crime fighter league. Your combatants today are Batman the Animated Series from 1992, Superman the Animated Series from 1996, Justice League from 2001, and Spider-Man the Animated Series from 1994. Now, for anybody that has not been, has never listened to the show before or has never been on it, here's basically what we do. 4 cartoons, 5 categories. All right, so we judge each cartoon on a scale of 1 to 10 in 5 categories: theme song, animation quality, characters, episodes, humor, and entertainment value. Scoring on a scale of 1 to 10. We normally do halves, like decimals, but because there might be other people judging besides us in the chat room, I need the room to write it, so it's easier to write, single numbers. Even 10, I'm probably just going to put a strike because, as a bowling analogy. Yeah. Just to make it easier. I know that took Eric's game plan completely off, but that's kind of what I did.
Fine.
Give it a 6.
You might want to do that. You might want to write that in the chat just in case somebody.
I already said it.
Yeah, I've said it, and we've kind of proven on this show that you're the only one that doesn't listen to me. So, I think they'll get it. If somebody does say it in the chat, I'll be like 1 to 10. It's single number, no halves, or I'll just round up.
There you go.
So, all right. Now, already have advanced to the single elimination tournament.
There you go.
Who's this?
Music Masters.
Hey. Anybody know this guy?
It's the master of
Oh,
music.
and he deleted his comment.
All right, so Spider-Man -10.
I'm with him.
We'll get
that.
We'll get that in a second. Well, you're going to be judging via, by each category their music masters. So just hold on. All right. So already advanced to the single elimination tournament because all these league battles will lead to a 14 cartoon single elimination tournament. Already advanced. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Biker Mice from Mars, Pokemon, X-Men the Animated Series, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Real Ghostbusters, Rocket Power, Heathcliff advanced last week. The top 2 scoring, because the points matter in this. This is not like Whose Line Is It Anyway, where the points don't matter. The points do matter here, and the top 2 cartoons that win their league, as far as points go, the top 2 point getters will receive first round buys. Right now, Heathcliff has a buy with 203 points. X-Men Animated Series has a buy with 183. That could very well change tonight. The 4 wild cards, because 4 teams get wild card spots depending on their points. Right now, it's Garfield and Friends, Thundercats, or Garfield at 192, Thundercats at 188.5. Flintstones at 176, Rugrats at 164. More than likely, that's going to change tonight. 3 of these cartoons every cartoon except for Garfield could get eliminated tonight, or out of the wild card. But after this, after the league battles are done and over with, Dave, Sean, Eric, and the community vote get a chance to revive a cartoon for a battle back against one of the existing wild cards. You and I are part of that community vote. We may be that community vote if I can't get anybody else to participate.
All right, cool.
All right. So without any further ado, because we're already 6 minutes in, we're going to go ahead. We are going to get started. Everybody in the chat room, you see my comment here. That's what the 5 categories are: theme song, animation quality, characters, episodes, and humor and entertainment value. Scale of 1 to 10. No halves, please. Just single numbers. Well, I mean, 10's a double-digit number, but you know what I mean. And then if you're in the chat room judging, your score counts.
Yeah.
So this could be the highest scored episode of the podcast we've ever done.
Oh, shit.
What?
All right. So we are going to start. Category number 1 is theme song. The first show up for theme song is going to be Batman the Animated Series. You are the newbie.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with you. Scale of 1 to 10. A scale of 1 to 10. What would you rate Batman the Animated Series theme song?
I give it a 7.5. No, I'm
You
just kidding.
son of a.
But I to me, like I remember as a kid, like this brings a lot of nostalgia and watching the intro and the way it's animated. I think it's really cool, but the song itself is a bit dull. It makes sense for Batman and it like works like the kind of dark like dreariness, but I also think it's kind of boring. So I'm going to give this one a 6.
Okay. All right. Dave, we're going to go to you next.
I actually gave it a 6 as well. For those exact reasons. It was kind of basic, wasn't too much of the theme song. It was really good animations during this theme song. I mean, you got a little glimpse of Batman doing his thing, but yeah, it just didn't have enough pizzazz to it for me.
All righty. Sean, we'll go to you next. What do you give it?
I also gave it a 6 for the exact same reasons. It was boring. I mean, it showcased what the show is about, I guess, but there wasn't any like awe factor.
Right.
So
All right. Music Masters in the chat. What do you give Batman the Animated Series theme song scale of 1 to 10? But while we're waiting for him to type in his answer, Eric, scale of 1 to 10, what do you give Batman the Animated Series?
I guess I'm the only one that liked it because I give it a 10.
oh,
Okay. All right. Go ahead and expand on that a little bit, Eric.
I just thought it was a fun theme song. I just liked it. I thought it was kind of catchy to me. So.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm gonna go down a little bit, and the animation heading into it, with the theme song was cool because it shows him beating up 2 bad guys, which is what he does.
Yeah.
Yep.
But to me, a theme song has to have like some kind of a beat to it. It has to kind of get you hooked up for the show. Now the animation does that, but the song doesn't. So I'm gonna go down. I'm giving it a 5. So, just
strike. That's right. I forgot to say that.
so Eric bowled a strike.
It's probably the more critically acclaimed show on the list. Too.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman the Animated Series, pretty.
Oh, I'm probably going to get some hate for that. But all right, so we're going to move on. Music Masters, if you want to give a score, please do. Anybody else in the chat that is watching this, go ahead and give a score on Batman the Animated Series theme song, scale of 1 to 10. But we're going to move on to Superman, and I'm going to change things up a little bit. And Eric, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'll give it 7.5. Oh, no, 7.7.
I'm not writing it down. Give a score.
I said 7. I corrected myself right after.
All right. Wait.
I did that as a joke.
Oh, Raven in the chat room. Go ahead and give a score if you will, please. Batman the animated series, scale of 1 to 10, and then do one for Superman as well. But all right, so Eric gives it a 7. Sean, what do you give it?
I gave it a 6. Same as the Batman. I thought it was just kind of dull and boring. Showcase the show. I didn't like it. Didn't get me excited.
All right.
None of these theme songs got me excited.
All righty. Dan?
Which one's which?
Well, I'm thinking, I know for a fact Batman gets the 5 and Superman gets the 10. Trust me, I know this guy.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the order it was like.
Yeah.
Superman. To me, this one was. I like this a lot better than Batman. It was a little cheery, but I think it worked for Superman. I give it an 8.
Okay. By the way, Raven in the chat room bowled a strike for Superman. All right. Dave.
Yeah, I gave this one a 4. I didn't like it. It didn't get me pumped up at all. It was kind of, I'm like sitting there. It's more like a lullaby more than action-packed action with Superman. So, yeah, I didn't enjoy it. I was thinking about giving an even lower score, but it was okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go 9. I did really like this, and I'm not a Superman guy, but I do like. I did appreciate watching this cartoon. Like, I appreciated the theme song, and but I did appreciate like the opening and like the opening credits where they show like scenes from the show or whatever, and him in action. So yeah, I give it a 9. We're gonna move on to Justice League. So Raven in the chat, that what we are on Justice League now. Theme song. Sean, I'm going to start with you.
I gave it another 6.
You know these are the devil's numbers, right?
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. I thought it was just boring.
Okay.
They all bored me. I don't know what it was. Didn't like them. I didn't think there was enough, I don't know. Justice League to me was hard, and I have to explain it in a different category why.
Okay.
I don't really like the Justice League, so I'm just going to stick to the 6 and get to the next person.
All right. Hope for the best. All right. Dave, will go to you.
I gave it a 5. It had some okay animation, like going through the Martian's eye at the end of the theme song.
Right.
That was kind of cool. But yeah, the theme song just wasn't that great. It was bland. So I gave it a 5.
All right. Eric?
I'm giving it 10. I liked it.
Right.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Okay. Fair enough. Dan?
I give it a 7.
Okay.
I thought it was all right.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to agree with Sean and give it the devil's number. I'm going to give it a 6. Raven in the chat gave it a 4. So I said that this could be one of the higher scored matchups. But because a lot of us are going in the lower side, it might not be that way.
Not me.
I said a lot of us. I didn't say all.
Well, the episodes might get more.
Yeah. So we'll see. All right. So that's all right. So 6 of us did that. All right. So we're gonna move on to Spider-Man, the animated series. So Raven in the chat, that is what we are on right now. Theme song, Spider-Man the animated series. Eric, I'm gonna start with you again.
I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
I thought it was just okay.
All right. Fair enough. Dan.
I'll give it a 9. That's probably the highest I am on Spider-Man. As far as I thought, the theme song was the least boring out of the four.
Okay. Dave.
Yeah, I agree with your brother there. I gave it a 9 as well. It had a little more kick to it. You got you a little more excited, So I gave it a 9.
All right. Raven in the chat gives it a 6. Sean?
I gave it an 8. I think out of the four, it had the most action for an intro.
Yeah.
Like a lot more animation, and yeah, like everybody else said, it was just more intriguing to watch.
All right, so my score for this is also going to be an 8. I feel like, because this is the only, technically, it's the only theme song that had words, even though the words were just Spider-Man.
Yep.
But it was done good with that robotic
yeah, exactly.
tone,
Yep, and the instruments they used just had more of a kick to it.
Yeah. So, all right. So that is category number 1. That is theme song.
All right.
We are moving on to category number 2, which is animation quality. So, Raven in the chat room, we appreciate you hanging out with us. As drunk as you may be, we appreciate you hanging out in the chat with us. We are starting animation quality. We are moving on to Batman, the animated series. And I'm going to start with you, Dan.
For Batman
animation quality.
I'll give it a 9. I think this is where it, holds strong. As far as like action scenes and stuff, it probably might be the least, out of the 4. But the character models it gets, fucking perfect, I think. And
Yeah.
I think like everybody looks how they're supposed to look. It made like Mr. Freeze and Harley Quinn and certain characters and what their characters would be in the comics from then on. So I'm pretty strong on that one.
I definitely agree, because in the comics, Mr. Freeze was just like a regular bank robber type dude, right?
Yeah.
And the animation, they really brought him to life, gave him a whole new getup, pretty much.
Yeah. So in the chat, Raven gives it a 7. And Dave, I'm going to go to you next.
I actually gave this one a strike.
Yeah.
I thought there was, smooth scenes, the silhouette scenes where they're all black and they're fighting. I thought that was really clean and well done. I just really enjoyed this one.
Okay. Eric?
I also give it a strike. 10. I agree with what Dave said. Everything seemed pretty good especially for its time.
Okay.
92.
92.
Yeah.
Well, 92 to 96.
Yeah.
All right. Sean?
I gave it a 9. I thought it was like they tried to make it more like the comic book animation, like the book coming to life in a sense.
Yeah.
Like for all 4 of them, it was all the same. I thought it was just really well done, very detailed for what they had to do, like Dan said, for all the characters and the different characters and stuff. Very detailed.
Definitely.
All right. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to bowl the third strike this frame.
A turkey.
Turkey.
So Batman may have just taken a commanding lead.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
By the way, with 6 of us voting tonight, 300 points. Well, I mean, it's nothing's going to get up to 300 points because of we haven't all given 10s yet, but 300 points was technically possible. But and I could say this, one of these whoever wins tonight could possibly surpass Garfield for number 1 seed.
What's that at again?
203.
Okay.
So we are well on that way. And now we are on our way to Superman, the animated series. Raven in the chat, animation quality for Superman, the animated series, please. I think I already know what it's going to be, but I need you to type it in anyway. And Sean, I'm going to start with you.
I gave it another 9. Basically the same reason. I thought they're all similar in the animation factor. detailed where it needs it. So yeah, solid 8.
I thought you said
I
9.
thought you said
Oh yeah, no 9. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong one when I checked it again. 9.
Glad you corrected yourself. Dan.
You know what? I'll give it a strike.
Aha.
I think because I think it's just as good, and you can tell because it came out around the same time as Batman. But there was more action scenes in this, and there was a lot more ass kicking, and explosions and stuff. So I think for a cartoon, they did a lot for Superman.
All right.
I'll give it a 10.
All right. Raven in the chat also bowled a strike. So 2 strikes for Soups. Eric, go
I'm
ahead.
giving it a 9.
All right.
I thought Batman was slightly better.
Fair enough. A lot of people actually think that in a lot of ways. But that's probably another debate for another day.
That's true, though. This one definitely got lost in the shuffle compared to that one.
Yeah. All right. So, Dave, you're next.
I gave it a 9. It came after Batman, so you would think it would be a little bit better, but it was about the same as Batman, so I gave it a 9 just because it came a little bit after.
Right. All right. I'm also going to give it a 9. I was not because all right. So here's the funny thing about this. When this came out, I remember as a kid, there were other cartoons that I watched instead of this.
Yeah.
Okay. I was big into because this came out around the same time that Disney acquired the Doug license. So I was always watching ABC. This was on WB. I was always watching ABC on Saturday morning. So I was watching Doug. I was watching Mighty Ducks. I was watching the Looney Tunes cartoon that was on there, among other things. Recess when that came on. So not necessarily. I didn't necessarily watch this when I was a kid, but watching it now, yes, the animation is very good. It is very clean. Not as good as Batman's, but it's still it's up there. So, all right, we all went. All right, we are on Justice League now. So, Raven in the chat, if you're following along with us, we are doing Justice League's numbers now. Eric, I'm going to start with you.
I'll give it a 10 strike. I thought it was just as good as Batman. There, right up there with Batman.
All right. And next, Dave, let's go to you.
I gave this a 9 as well. I thought it had just about the same animations as the previous 2. A quick question. Did they implement CGI in Justice League?
Maybe in the later seasons.
Yeah, I'm not
I think on Unlimited they did.
They might have.
But not on the first Justice League.
Okay.
All right. Raven in the chat gave it an 8. Sean, go ahead.
I also gave it a 9.
Okay. All right. Dan.
I'll give it a 9 too. Because it came out after the other 2, you can tell that it's just a little more crisp.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can be too much with all that on the screen at once.
Right.
I think Unlimited, suffered from that more because it was like all the heroes. But even with 7 of them, it's a lot sometimes. But I think it's still pretty good.
Okay. All right. I am going to go ahead and I am going to agree with Raven in the chat, and I'm going to say 8. Just like I kind of like the anime, even though yes, it came later on, so like Warner Brothers could kind of perfect the animation.
Yeah,
I don't know. I like Superman and Batman's animation better. I felt like that sometimes things could get a little jumbled, so I give it an 8. We are moving on to Spider-Man. By the way, it's funny. 3 of these cartoons were made by DC. One of them is made by Marvel.
yeah.
One of these things is not like the other. But I think the numbers are kind of proving it. So, Raven in the chat, we are on Spider-Man the animated series now, animation quality. And Dan, we're going to start with you.
I give this one a 4.
Okay.
I thought it was ass. I thought, to me, this felt the most old school. It felt like it kind of belonged in the 80s a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
you were saying that earlier.
There was other cartoons that you've watched, that I've watched with you, that are older that look better to me.
Okay.
Like I think this kind of holds up the least. So, I mean, there's definitely cool moments in it, but yeah, I didn't love the animation on this one.
All right. Sean?
I gave it a 1.
Whoa.
I just, like Dan said, it looked like it belonged in the 80s. It was lazy in a sense, but I don't know about you guys, but did it like have like a sun glare around the edges of every scene? You know what I mean? Like kind of it would like glare
Yeah.
in.
I noticed it too.
It just annoyed me. It was like a sun glare.
Yeah.
The whole time, like it was just awful. I mean, there was good moments, I guess, but like it didn't fit for the time period it was in. It just felt like it could have been done so much better.
Right.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Especially being like, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to put effort into all these other superhero shows and you're just going to screw Spider-Man.
Yeah.
By the way, Raven in the chat gives it a 3, says it's pushing it. So Eric, we're going to go to you.
I'm going to give it a 3 too. It just seemed blah to me. It was worse at the 4. Absolutely the worst at the 4.
Yeah. So
it felt blurry too.
Yeah.
Like it was like blocky.
Like
it wasn't
laggy.
blurry, but
Like
it was
laggy.
like blocky at times. Like you can see the
Yeah.
pixels, and it's like, what are we doing?
Marvel didn't have that cash yet. That they got now.
Apparently
not at
not.
all. And so
And it came after Batman too.
Yeah.
Like you had the technology clearly to do it, and you
For
just
sure.
didn't do it.
So it looks like right now, Eric has done us the pleasure a couple of times on the show of angering fan bases. He did it to the SpongeBob fan base. I'm pretty sure the Thundercats definitely I think he upset the Thundercats fan base last week as well. So we're on our way. All right, who?
I haven't gone yet.
Yeah, I'm not the only one that gave it a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
right.
gave it a 3 as well.
All right, Dave, you're giving it a 3?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so Dave gives it a 3. All right, Weeb's in the chat. You're saying Batman the Animated Series gets a 9. For the animation quality? I'm assuming, but I'll wait for him to confirm it, and I'll give my. Dave, you were kind of on the bad list for our buddy Raven in the chat, but now because you agreed with him on Spider-Man's animation, he bumped you up to a 6.
Nice. Thank you.
All right, so
I'll take that. That's passing.
Yeah. All right, so Weebs gives Spider-Man's animation an 8. Overall. We're still on the second category, Weebs. So you're still good. All right. So I'm going to give Spider-Man's animation. I'm going to agree with you. Actually, no, I'm going to go a little lower. I'm going to go 2 because I do agree. So, all right, I'm going to add Weebs' scores here.
It literally felt like they were just recording a flip book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, how you doing? Mark in the chat. We're on animation quality right now. If you want to throw in a score for all 4 cartoons, if you're able to. But now we are moving on to characters. So everybody in the chat, Weebs, Mark, Raven, we are on characters now, scale of 1 to 10. And we're going to start with Batman the Animated Series. And Dan, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I think that's where this shines the most. I'm going to go strike. It just like I was touching on earlier, it literally made like Harley Quinn was invented in this show. She's a huge, character for the whole universe now. And like we were saying with Mr. Freeze, he got a whole new character and backstory. And you can touch on that in episodes too. But I think just all the villains they did perfect. Batman and the Bat Family, and then slowly introducing Robin and Catwoman and everybody. I think that's the one thing that this thing did perfect. So I give it a strike.
Okay. Raven in the chat gives it a 9. Eric, we'll go to you next.
I'm going to strike again.
All right.
Characters were perfect.
All right. Weaves in the chat also strikes it. Gives it a 10 as well. I'm going to run out of damn room on this page, but that's okay. The more scores, the better. The more scores, the higher. So we're good with that. Sean, go ahead.
I'm also blowing a strike. I think, I have Joker of this show in my top 3 of all time Jokers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like he was
Yeah.
Mark Hamill was perfect in this series, and I'm pretty sure I sent you guys a video of like one of my favorite scenes.
I saw that. Did you see it? Because I sent it to you.
I don't
too.
think I
Yeah.
sent it to Dan, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was so funny. Like he kills Scarecrows, like that wasn't any fun, and then just goes to like, complaining villain to complaining customer. So
Yeah.
quick. And I just thought like he just played it so well. That's why I gave it a 10. Like all the characters had their own personality and separation from everybody else. Like it was just very well done.
All right. Dave, I don't believe I've gone to you yet. I got so many scores coming in now that
I'll give this one a 10 as well.
all
I
right.
think they did really good on their characters. I mean, they even had an episode delegated to Clock King.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, every episode was interesting with the characters.
Mm-hmm.
What I loved, and by the way, I'm also going Steve Reich.
Did everybody give it a strike?
Everybody except for Len, or Raven, as as he's known as the chat. I know him as Len's what I call him. Yeah. So everybody besides Raven gave it a strike. And yep, like Weave says in the chat, characters had backstories. They all had backstories. What I loved is like it followed kind of like the evolution of the characters, like in the comic books. Like by season 4, Robin was Nightwing,
Yeah.
or Dick
Yeah.
Grayson was Nightwing.
Yeah. There was
They had 40 episodes a season
there was a
or
lot.
something.
Yeah.
Like they had a lot. Like that's I think what made it even easier for them to develop everybody separately.
Well,
And
and
not
also-
jam pack like 2 villains into like 2 episodes and try to explain what they're about,
Like you also have to realize too, that this was one of the most popular. It wasn't a Saturday morning cartoon. It was an after school cartoon.
Yeah.
I think it even got like an Emmy or some shit. I mean, this
Yeah.
is like one of the more critically acclaimed, and the characters are like even Clayface had a cool backstory.
Yeah.
Every single
And what helped too is what they could get away with saying or doing in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind
They
of can't get
definitely
away
pushed
with now.
lines.
So I think that helped them with everything that show's about.
All right. So we are going to move on. A lot of strikes for Batman, the animated series. All right. So Weaves just points out 65 episodes in season 1, 20 episodes in season 2. So season 1, yeah, because I think season 1, it was every day after school was a new episode.
Yeah.
I believe, I remember it being that way.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move on to Superman, the animated series. So everybody in the chat, we are on Superman, the animated series now. If you want to start giving some scores, we are on their characters. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start because I'm going to forget who's going anyway. I'm I'm going to give the characters, I'm going to give them a 9.
Okay.
All right. You had Superman, obviously. You had Lois, which I'm not a Lois Lane fan. Okay. It doesn't matter what iteration she is. I'm not a Lois Lane fan. I think she causes way too much trouble.
Yeah.
I think Sean's wife just disagreed with me. But like, yeah, so she's not one of my favorite characters, but I thought this iteration of Lois was pretty good. Jimmy Olsen was fantastic. The villains, Lobo and Mixel Pixic or whatever.
Yeah, the little guy.
The little guy that was voiced by Gilbert Gottfried. They were hilarious. Parasite was good. Lex Luthor basically proves that all bald guys are jerks. It's if I don't prove that already. Raven in the chat gives the characters a 9.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. So am I. All right. Eric, we're gonna move to you next.
I'm giving it 9 too.
All right.
I thought the characters were awesome, but slightly below Batman. Obviously.
Okay.
I'm more Batman, so you
Right.
Couldn't tell by my scores.
Okay. Dan, we'll go to you next.
I'll give it an 8. I think that they were slightly less fleshed out than the Batman characters, but I think there was still a lot of backstory given, and I think there's a lot of meat on the bone with the characters, and they're a bit underrated. But I don't think they're. It's not perfect, but there is everybody in the Superman family is represented, and all the villains are cool. I mean, you get like a dark side that like goes on to Justice League and stuff. So I think this plants a lot of seeds. So
yeah,
I'll give it an 8.
Yeah. Weaves in the chat agrees with you. Raven says wanted to go 10, but got to be honest. Raven, we appreciate honesty on this show.
Yeah.
People that listen to this after might not appreciate it, but that's okay. Most of them want to go after Eric anyway.
Eric's a scapegoat.
Yeah.
I'm always the scapegoat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your picture on your thing every time you would go off camera was Jack Perry for a while.
Yeah, now it's my boy Kevin.
Yep.
My boy Kevin.
All right, so now we are at who the hell hasn't gone?
Me and Sean.
All right, Dave, we'll go to you next.
I gave the characters an 8. I didn't think it had as much depth as Batman, so I gave it an 8.
Okay. All right, Sean, we'll go to you.
I also gave it an 8. I think they focused on the characters they thought they needed to. But it wasn't like super in depth like Batman was.
Yeah, I can see that.
All righty. All right, so all 7 of us have gone. Mark, if you're still listening or watching in the chat room, if you want to go ahead and give some scores, please do. I'm pretty sure I still have room in these columns. That's what happens when you promote the show. Like everybody wants to be a part of it, and then you realize you run out of room on your paper. But that's okay. That's a good problem to have. All right, so we're moving on to Justice League. Moving on to the characters. So everybody in the chat, we are on the Justice League, rating the characters. And Dan, I'm going to start with you.
All right, I give it a 10. I give it a strike.
Right.
I think just because you have so many, and I think they're all represented very well. I think if you're like a comic book fan that was like as a kid that all you were used to was seeing Batman and Superman in the movies or the TV shows, and I mean, I guess they had the Super Friends back in the day, but it was nice seeing Green Lantern stand next to the Flash and Wonder Woman, and I think Wonder Woman, this is like one of the better incarnations of her too. So and her dynamic with Batman, I think it's just the way they all kind of their chemistry with each other. I think that's what helped make the show, and yeah, the villains were good too, but it was the grouping of the heroes, I think, is what puts it overboard for me.
Okay.
I like it.
Now I got a side question here. Did Wonder Woman have an animated series? Like either before this or after?
No, I think she had an animated movie.
Okay. Because I know they tried to do something with Green Lantern in the 2000s.
Yeah, that lasted like a season.
All right. So Raven in the chat gives it a 7. Before I lose track, Dave, we're gonna go to you.
I gave the characters a 10 on this one as well.
You right?
You got a lot of heroes that are represented, and you got a lot of different villains from each of the heroes represented. I mean, sometimes you got episodes where like 2 heroes go off and it's just on them, or just one of them, or something like that. So I think they were represented really well here, like Dan said.
Okay. All right. So Weebs cannot give an opinion on Justice League. He was deployed during the run. So that might take Justice League scores down a little bit, but it's still, I think, going to score pretty high. The strikes help. Sean, we'll go to you.
I gave it a 10 strike. I thought,
Well, this is definitely going to help.
like with all the main characters they had grouped together, I thought it wouldn't work because it would try to like one off somebody else that's already well known. Like, would you follow Superman or would you follow Batman? And then I thought that would divide the show, but they didn't do it like that.
Okay.
Didn't feel like that. I thought it was very well done equally between every main character and villain. And like Dave said, they, if 2 go off, it's kind of focusing on just those 2 and not, veering off from that to go somewhere else. So strike it.
All right. Eric.
I'll give it a 10 too.
You
What
right?
else is there to say? You have Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash. Enough said.
All right. So, I'm going to go just a tad lower. I'm going to say 9.
Okay.
All right, and the reason why I'm going to do that is, yes, you had Batman, you had Superman, which was great. Wonder Woman was great too. I really like Martian Manhunter.
Yep,
Yeah.
me too. I like
Green
Martian.
Lantern, my favorite superhero. But there were like certain characters that were in it. I mean, yeah, like one time was like, I hated the way Aquaman was portrayed, and I'll get to that in episodes.
Did you not like the Flash? You didn't know it said the Flash. I mean,
I
he's like the comedy of the show.
He's the comedy of the show, but in a lot of the episodes I saw, he wasn't on it.
Okay.
So I can't really, comment on him. Hawkgirl was just okay. So
Yeah.
I'm just
She was
gonna
the mediocre one out of the group.
yeah,
That's what I thought.
yeah, and I agree.
But she got her episode. She got 1 or 2 episodes for herself, though.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 9. It's still a darn good score. For this round, 4 strikes.
Yeah.
I think that's in bowling. Isn't that like 2 turkeys?
We're 2 turkeys.
Something like that.
Yeah. So you're not wrong, Dan. All right, so we are going to move on to a show that might not get a lot of love. That is going to be Spider-Man, the animated series. So everybody in the chat, that's what we're on right now with the characters of Spider-Man, the animated series. Sean, I'm starting with you.
Yeah, mute.
Sean, go.
Yep. Sorry, muted. 3. I gave it a 3.
Okay.
Bland.
You thought the characters were bland on
Yep.
Spider-Man?
Yep, they were bland. I think they try to make it too corny at times. Like, I don't know. Just didn't flow very well like it should have.
All right. All right. Raven in the chat goes 2. I thought that to be honest with you, he's giving the numbers to Spider-Man that I thought he was going to give the Batman just to screw with you.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we're going to go to you next.
Yeah.
For Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, I'm a little higher on it. Even though I'm obviously biased, I'm more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan. But I would give Spider-Man a 6 because I do think they had all the big villains and like characters like Rhino or like the Hobgoblin that fans that don't get to see depictions of those characters a lot. I think they did a good job with it. And even though, like I said, the animation quality kind of brought it down, I thought the characters themselves were done all right.
Okay. Dave.
Yeah, I gave this one a 5. You got your characters in there. You get a little background knowledge of them too. Um, yeah, I mean, it just wasn't. I mean, they were restricted on a lot of things. So like a lot of villains couldn't be portrayed as themselves. Like like Carnage, how he's just a serial killer. Like he couldn't be portrayed as that because of the restrictions.
That's true.
So
Right.
so I couldn't hate on it too much because of the restrictions. Like Spider-Man, you never see him punching anyone. He's just kicking them or swinging a web at them. Like restrictions again. So I gave it a 5.
Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. He gives it a 10. All right. So he strikes it. All right. And we go. Eric, I believe we have not gone to you yet.
I'm gonna be slightly nicer than these guys. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
I thought it represented some of the movie.
Okay.
At least
So
the first
I'm
one.
gonna go ahead, Eric.
At least the first original Spider-Man movie.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna agree with my brother, and I'm gonna say 6. I do feel like they did a decent job with the representation of some of these characters. I mean, not the best, but I mean, there's been worse character depictions.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be nice about that, and I'm gonna say 6. Not too nice, but nice enough. All right. So now, everybody in the chat, we are moving on to the episodes. Again, scale of 1 to 10. Episodes. We are starting with Batman the Animated Series, and Dave, I'm going to start with you.
I gave the episodes a 10.
Stevie Reich.
I mean, you got all your villains. It was just entertaining. They revamped Mr. Freeze, made him a really good villain. I mean, brought him to who he is. I mean, you got Catwoman in there and stuff. I mean, it was really good. Entertaining.
All righty. Dan.
Yeah, I agree with Dave. I'm going to give it a strike. I'll give it a 10. I think, and like, I'm pretty sure that some of these episodes were like taught in, like, film classes and stuff. And that's like, I mean, it tells you how, like, I mean, the storytelling, the writing in them, they're just like perfectly crafted episodes. And they did the thing where they would like focus on the villain for like fucking like 80% of the episode, and then like Batman beats their ass at the end. And that was like a cool formula that really like shined a light on the bad guys. So
yeah,
I really enjoyed this one. I mean, the best thing about it is the episodes for me.
Okay. All right. Raven in the chat gives it an 8. Weebs, we also wait on your score
The
for the
Harvey
episodes.
Dent episodes were awesome too.
Yeah.
Two-Face.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the episode where he turned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
that was awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Weebs in the chat gives the Batman episodes an 8 as well. Sean.
I gave it a 10.
All right. Another Steve Reich.
Same reasons as everybody's explaining. It was just really well done. They would focus on the villains, and then Batman would swoop in and beat them up, or he would be getting beat up and then finds a way to counter. And I don't know, I think the Joker made the episodes, all the Joker episodes, made that series perfect to me. The one where Two-Face turned, that was a great one. The show like just is like a show made with a lot of love, a lot of care.
Right. 100%. You can tell.
I mean, even the voice actors, like the dedication they put in behind their character is also very impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they
100%.
did bring in Mark Hamill over Tim Curry. So, I mean, that was the previous Joker.
Okay.
So, yeah, you got to give him credit there.
Yeah, and I do like Tim Curry, but Mark Hamill did just amazing. All right, Eric.
I'm giving it a strike too. 10. Everybody already said what I was going to say.
Makes it easier, doesn't it?
Pretty much.
All right. It's hard for me to disagree with my compadres here on the panel on the feed. So I'm going to also give it a strike. Heathcliff fans are crapping their pants right now.
Is that what's gonna get booted?
No,
kinda
well,
wish-
they're not going to get booted. They're going to get knocked down to number 2. X-Men the animated series, like Mark McGee, who really helped. Who I don't know if he's still watching in the chat room right now or not. He really helped push X-Men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like it was given a 10s, I think, across the board.
Yeah.
9s and 10s. So I might be getting a scathing letter from him.
Okay.
Which I've been getting scathing letters from him for 20 years. So it's okay. So
Maybe Cliff too, because remember Cliff is a big X-Men fan too.
yeah, well, he's not in the chat right now, so he's not scoring. He could have helped. But oh well. All right. So now we are on the episodes of Superman the animated series. Everybody in the chat that's following along. Superman the animated series, scale of 1 to 10. And Dan, I'm going to start with you.
I give it a 9. I think everything I said about Batman, it can go to Superman as well. Maybe just like a notch below, but I think they did the same thing of like really focusing on the villains in the episode. Like I really felt bad for Bizarro. That was like a tragic story in his episode. I thought, like you were saying, Parasite, I think they did a really good backstory for him. I think the episodes, I mean, they did what they're supposed to do and like put Lois in danger and Superman, and like they told good stories from the comics. And I thought it was pretty good adaptations for the episodes.
Yeah.
Not quite what Batman was, but
yeah. All right, Raven in the chat gives it the old strike. So Weebs, we also would like to get your score as well. Eric, I'm going to move on to you.
I'm gonna give it a 7. This is of the 4. This is the show I like the least.
Okay.
Sorry, Raven.
That's okay. I'll hear about it at work on Monday, but that's okay. All right.
Didn't mean I didn't like it. Just
Yeah.
of the 4.
Yeah.
I like
No,
this.
that's fine. I mean, you're not Thundercatsing it or SpongeBobbing it.
No.
So,
None of these I did that.
Yeah. So, all right. Weebs in the chat gives it an 8. Sean.
I gave it an 8.
Okay. Dave.
I gave it an 8 as well. Just Superman's a little overpowered, so you know he's gonna pull through unless somebody got kryptonite. So
Yeah.
if they don't pull that out, you know, I already know he's whooping them.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty
I think
predictable.
Superman's more predictable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple of these episodes I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the episode where they brought in Lobo because that was very comedic.
yeah.
When he's like, friends of yours, Lobo? He goes, Bridge Club.
There was more funny stuff on this than you would think.
Yeah. And you know, it's really going to help with the humor and entertainment value. But as far as episodes go, I'm going to give it a 9. So all right, so we are going to move on. I think, yep, I got everybody.
Spider-Man.
We are going to, huh?
Oh no, I thought it was Spider-Man.
No, Justice League's next. But all right, so we're moving on to Justice League. So everybody in the chat, and I mean mostly Raven, because Weebs was serving our country during the airing of Justice League. So we're on the episodes of Justice League. Dave, I'm starting with you.
Oh, the episodes on this, I
Yeah.
gave a 9. I mean, they did really good on, you know, doing episodes directly on each and every superhero, and they're fighting different villains each time. So I gave this one a 9.
Okay. Raven in the chat also gives it a 9. Dahama in the kitchen. What do you give the
For episodes,
Yes.
I give it an 8.
Okay.
I think it's they did do a good job adapting stuff from the comics and everything. I just don't know if there's as many classic Justice League stories as there is just Batman solo stories.
Okay.
Or even Superman solo stories.
All right. I think that is fair enough. Sean.
I gave it a 9. I thought it was pretty well balanced between everybody. They never really tried to overshine one member of the Justice League over another.
Okay. I mean, it's very fair.
Did you know it did feel like Superman got like knocked out for half the episode most of the time?
Yeah.
So they were like, all right, he could fuck everybody up, so let's get him out of the way.
Yeah.
Everybody else is fighting.
Yeah.
But I think they had to do something like that.
Yeah, to make
Because
it.
Make it,
Superman's
like,
just too
believable.
overpowered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Yeah. No, 100% agree with that. Eric, you didn't go yet, right?
No, I'm giving it a strike.
You're gonna
I
strike?
like Superman better in this than the Superman actual Superman.
Okay. Fair enough. Oh, my turn. All right, I'm gonna give it a 9. Yeah, it's basically because of, I mean, again, the characters, like everybody did get like their fair share of episodes and time to shine and all that. But like some of these episodes, it's just like I felt like, especially they're supposed to be a team, and there were times where like Batman he could have cared less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of a shtick, though.
Yeah. And like the episode where they tried to help Aquaman, not a fan of Aquaman. So yeah, I give it a 9. All right. Everybody went, I think. Yep. All right. So we are moving on to the episodes. Everybody in the chat that is scoring along. We are moving on to the episodes of Spider-Man, the animated series. And yeah. So we are on Spider-Man, the animated series. And Sean, I'm starting with you.
I gave it a 5.
Okay.
I thought they followed the comic Spider-Man, whatever villain he's facing, pretty well when they did it, but it's just the animation kind of ruined the rest of it for me. So I don't want to hate on it too much because it was so still is Spider-Man, so facing whoever he wants to web, but with the limitations like Dave brought up and the animation, it can't be up there for me.
Right.
It was just corny too. I feel like they try to be more like a 70s comedic show with the little stupid punchlines every other sentence, or it's just that didn't work at all in my opinion. I thought it was very lazy writing.
Yeah. Well, they also had to be more kid friendly.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't help with the limitations. If they didn't have the limitations, and they could have made it something like Justice League or Batman, maybe it would have been better. But
Right. No, I totally agree.
Yeah. All right. Raven in the chat gives it a 3. Weebs in the chat gives it a 10 because 5 seasons is a long run. For a cartoon, it actually is.
yeah,
So,
Good point.
yep, that's a good point there, Weebs. Dan.
Yeah, I agree with what a lot of Sean said. I would probably give it a 5. 5
Okay.
as well. I do think it did. It felt corny. I think the rest of these, I know they're all called animated series, but the other 3 really feel like animated series that an adult can watch. And this one felt like a cartoon.
Yeah.
This one felt like more for little kids. And they did have some good, story. The Hobgoblin episode in particular, I thought they had some good stories to it. But it didn't feel 90s. It felt like 80s or 70s, like Sean was saying. It was old school.
it felt like a dumbed down version of the Magic School Bus.
Yeah, I agree. And the dialogue was kind of ass. It felt like the first Resident Evil video game. It just
Right.
blocky, and just
nothing
was smooth.
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Eric.
I'll give it an 8.
Okay.
I did enjoy it. So
All right. Well, that's all that matters. Well, not all that matters because everybody's opinion on here matters. As do the
Exactly.
points, unlike whose line is it anyway. Dave, we're gonna go to you.
I gave this a little nicer score because of the restrictions and the target audience they were going for, so I gave it a 6.
Okay. I mean, that's a very good point. I'm gonna go ahead, and some of the episodes I really did enjoy, so I'm gonna agree with Eric, and I'm gonna say an 8. I mean, yes, some of them were corny, but you know, when you enjoy the episodes, you give it a high score.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I did, and that's why we gave it a high score. All right, we are on the very last category. It is humor and entertainment value for everybody that's following along in the chat room. And humor and entertainment value. So basically, what this category is for our new judge on the on the call and new judge in the chat room. Humor and entertainment value is basically like, you know, did it make you laugh, and how entertained were you by the cartoon?
Okay.
All right, now
That makes sense.
some people might say, "Oh, well, humor and entertainment value should be two separate categories." AI told me I could use it as one, so that's what we're doing.
As long as ChatGPT said it was okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is a legit reason, kind of. All right, so humor and entertainment value of Batman the animated series. Yeah, half of us were yawning just talking about Spider-Man.
That's true.
So, all right, but we are on the humor and entertainment value of Batman the animated series. Dan, I'm starting with you.
Well, as far as humor, I think besides Batman's little relationship with Alfred, I think there's like not much here as far as humor. And there's a couple of Batman's dynamic with a couple characters is funny, but that's not really what this show's trying to be, in my opinion. I think it's a much more serious, dramatic, like storytelling device than just trying to be a funny cartoon. Entertainment, though, like I can sit here and fucking watch 8 episodes and not get bored or start yawning. I could chill and watch this show and not get out of it. I could stay into it. So for that, I would give it a solid 8.
All right, Raven in the chat gave it a 6. All right, Sean, we're gonna go to you next.
I gave it a 10. So strike.
All right.
I thought like what you said, Dan, and you know, they were trying to aim more towards the seriousness of it, but they also brought the the suspense aspect to a bunch of episodes with, you know, the comedy relief.
Yeah.
And it blended very well together. And obviously my favorite line is, you know, where's my goddamn electric car, Bruce? The way he delivered that line, I just instant 10 for me.
Yeah.
Just for delivery. And I'm sorry, I know this is PG, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I try not to.
Well, the show was, dude.
But I'm not just saying, like, just not because of the Joker, though, too. Like, Scarecrow, he was funny because he was kind of like a coward, but wasn't really a coward in a way, like a bipolar coward, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, everybody had their own dynamic, and it was just entertainment value, too. Just, like, the action between everything going on and the storytelling and stuff, it was just great. Always kept you going.
Yeah.
Wanting more, never getting bored.
Absolutely. Weebs in the chat gives it a 10 or it gives it a strike as well. So, all right, we're gonna move on now. We're gonna move on
I gotta give it a 10.
All right.
I have to give it a
Well,
10 too.
Yeah.
You gotta get a shout out to Avery Coburn. She was the VP for Fox Kids,
Yeah.
BS&P production, broadcasting standards and production.
Yep.
She really pushed the lines of where Batman could go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. All right, Eric, did you say a strike as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say 9. Because yeah, there was not necessarily a lot of humor, unless like you're dealing with Joker.
Yeah.
But yes, the show was so entertaining, like with the dynamics that Batman had, like with a lot of the villains, and even like the dynamic he had with Alfred and all
fun.
that. So yeah, so I give that a 9. All right, we are gonna move on to Superman the animated series. Everybody in the chat, that is what we're on right now. Humor and entertainment value, scale of 1 to 10. And Sean, I'm going to start with you.
I just gave it a 7.
Okay.
I wasn't too thrilled with it. Some episodes were kind of boring. So.
Right. I mean, understandable.
Yeah. Keeping my answers short now.
Yeah. How are the Sabres doing on a hockey game?
They're winning 7-2.
Aha.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
153 left in the third, so the game we pretty much got it.
Good. All right. So the Sabres, come back from the big Four Nations break and are kicking tail. All right. Eric, I think you raised your hand, so I'm going to assume that you want to go next.
Yes, because I give it a 7 too, and everything Sean said, I agree.
Okay. All right. So like I said, Weebs and Raven in the chat. We are on Superman the animated series now. The very last category, humor and entertainment value. Go ahead and drop your scores, please. And Dave, I'm going to ask for yours.
I gave this one a 6.
Okay. As did Weebs in the chat, but go ahead there, Dave.
Yeah, I just thought some episodes were mediocre.
Okay. So you thought like the humor and entertainment value and some of them were just
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you could predict kind of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was just, it was all right.
All right. Let's see. All right. Yeah, Weeb's already went.
It's you and me.
Oh yeah. All right. So you go next.
I'm a little higher on this. I'll go an 8
Okay.
because I think the episodes, the ones that are supposed to be funny, are pretty funny. Like
Yeah.
You brought up Lobo earlier, and the little guy Mitsaplik. I think the humorous characters are very comedic. I do think it falls. I think Superman just falls in the trap of being a boring character, just from being the first superhero, and that it's been evolved so much, throughout since that time in like the fucking 30s when he was invented. So
And him being so strong too.
Yeah, it puts him in a trap a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm also going to go 8 because I found a lot of humor in the episodes that were supposed to be quiet, Misty. That were supposed to be humorous.
8-2. Sorry, 8-2. 8-2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sabres just scored again.
Haha. So all right, so I give it an 8. Episodes that were supposed to be funny were funny. Gave it a lot of humor, entertainment value. Like Superman, he's a basic superhero.
Yeah. They explored some stuff, but
yeah,
he's just a little more boring than Batman.
Yeah. I mean, just a basic superhero until you get into the Injustice video games, and then
you kill Lois, then he's a little more entertaining.
Yeah. But all right, moving on to the Justice League. So everybody in the chat that's scoring along, we are on the Justice League, humor and entertainment value. Eric, I'm going to start with you.
I'll give it a 10 strike.
All right.
It's like Batman. I enjoyed the episodes very much.
Okay. You enjoyed the episodes of it? You thought there was a lot of humor and entertainment value in the Justice League?
More into entertainment than humor, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. Raven in the chat gives it a 9. All right. Dahama?
Yeah, I would give it a. I think I would give it the. Yeah, I'll give it the strike on this one.
Okay.
Because I think it had a little bit of everything for everybody. And I think a lot of the humor was from Flash and Green Lantern's kind of chemistry of being like stoic and then childish. And also Batman trying to bang Wonder Woman. I know it's PG. I like their little dynamic. They're like, will they, won't they? And I think there's a lot of humor. They let Batman be a little more funny in this one than his own show. And I think everyone's just. I think the entertainment and there's like pretty high intense battle scenes in this one.
Mhm.
So I think there's a lot,
Everybody's more let loose.
especially
Yeah.
when, like, when we were 9 or something. This will keep you entertained. you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, Dave.
Yeah, I gave the entertainment aspect on this a 9.
Okay. All righty, Sean.
I gave it a 10, a strike.
Steve Reich.
Schweik.
I thought it was balanced well. You can never get bored watching multiple episodes in a row.
Right.
So
All right, I'm gonna give it a 9. To me, it wasn't necessarily strike worthy, but it's definitely up there. So
Okay.
give it a 9. All right. So now we are gonna move on to the humor and entertainment value of the last one, Spider-Man. So everybody in the chat that's scoring along, humor and
Spider-Man.
entertainment, humor and entertainment value of Spider-Man the animated series, and Sean is,
that's a
And-
minus 2.
Oh shit.
we can't do that, right?
I know.
So
Throw them all your hate.
I'm giving them a
Spider-Man
2. I'll go first. 2.
all right.
I thought, like we talked about earlier, with the corniness and the 70s style, like insult and jabs and stuff. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, the battle scenes, they were entertaining at times, but getting over the animation quality of it, it was very difficult to even want to go back and watch some more.
Yeah.
So
All right, Raven in the chat room also gives it a 2.
R.I.P. to Spider-Man, huh?
Poor Spider-Man, yeah.
So all right, Eric, go ahead.
I give it an 8.
Okay.
Eric's got its back.
Eric just doesn't want the hate.
No, I see. I enjoyed all 4 of these shows, so I'm not gonna
Yeah.
hate this week. In fact, I chose these shows.
Yeah. Yes, Eric is the one that drafted this particular league. So I mean, I thought that this was probably the best one he drafted, and he even said he's like, this is probably going to be the closest of the battles.
And
I mean,
saved the best
between
for last.
3 of
That's
them,
why I
yeah.
saved this one for last.
Right.
But all right, so Eric gives it an 8. Weebs in the chat gave it a 7. Carry the.
I'm gonna give it a 5.
All right. All right, Dave gives it a 5. Did you go yet?
No.
All right. You want to?
I'll agree at 5.
Okay.
I think because it was so corny, I think it almost gave that it's so bad it's good feel a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be fun to sit there and you can get a couple laughs out of it, but it's nothing like the other 3 at all. And it's really hard to judge this one compared to the other 3 in all the categories because it just feels like a step below. And it's not just because, like, Batman, I like Batman more than Spider-Man. Like, I just think that the work put into the other 3 wasn't put into this one.
Okay. I mean,
Fair.
yeah, I can see that. That is definitely fair. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a 6 because I did enjoy this a little bit more than Sean and Raven and everybody else that scored it lower than 6. So I give it a 6
Me
there.
and Wee's the only one that gave it a high score.
Yeah. So, you, myself, and Weaves, Eric, I think are all around the same age. Weaves
Okay.
might be a little older. I'm not sure. Do as Elite Doc says. Don't forget the
That
light.
guy's an asshole, but yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, who is
Dave
that
around
guy?
our age too?
Huh?
Handsome guy.
Oh, David's younger.
Dave and Sean, I believe, are the same age, right?
I'm 31.
29.
All right. Yeah. So Dave's a couple of years younger. All right. So we have all the scores. So I'm going to go ahead and give myself the headache and do the math. Everybody talk amongst yourselves, please.
Yeah, you got a lot of adding to do.
Well, I'll be right back because I have to.
What would you guys think if Mark Hamill was in a live action movie as the Joker?
He could do it. I think
Do you think
Today?
obviously probably not today, but no, like in the 90s when like Michael Keegan was making his and stuff, like I feel like those two could have made a good one together.
Yeah,
I can see
maybe. I
Or
could see
him,
it.
or him and hate to say it, probably the worst Batman ever would be George Clooney, right?
yeah, definitely the
Yeah.
worst Batman. Fuck
Yeah.
George Clooney.
Like I think his persona was more rich, like the rich guy type, you know what I mean? And then you go into Christian Bale as kind of more like the rich guy, but is competent enough to know, like,
Yeah,
I'm going to kick your,
yeah,
just didn't want to just be known as a rich guy
yeah.
as much as like George Clooney's character was just like, no, I'm just a rich guy that can do stuff in a suit.
Yeah. They didn't do much with that movie. Was a fucking like a toy commercial.
Now, wasn't that the one with George Clooney was the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger as
Mr. Freeze, yeah.
Mr. Freeze, right? That's
Yeah.
the same one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he's like
Michael
break the ice.
Michael Keaton, the guy who played the Joker in that one,
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. He was a good role for that too.
Yeah, he was good.
But maybe like I don't know, that's the same time period. Mark Hamill could have done it, but I don't know. Maybe his stature wouldn't really fit, like his body build.
Yeah, I mean, as he got older, he got creepier looking, so I think he could do it.
Yeah. Because if you really pay attention to all the different like Batman movies, if we're just sticking to that genre, every Batman is different than the one prior.
Yeah.
It's like a different universe, like same universe, but like I don't know, like they're not similar in certain ways. And the same with like Joker, like Heath Ledger's Joker was off the wall crazy, hinged demonic type, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
And then who's the last one that doesn't?
Jared Leto?
No, Jared Leto's was awful.
He was the
That was
fucking
awful. That was awful. But the current one, the one that's more, like Joaquin, not Joaquin, but
Joaquin
Phoenix, yeah, or Joaquin Phoenix or
He
whatever.
was all right. That second movie though was the biggest fucking abomination pile of dog shit I've ever seen. Making that a musical was fucking terrible. I did not pay a ticket to see Lady Gaga fucking sing for 2 hours.
Right. Not worth it.
The first one was good though. He is a good Joker. He's completely different though. You're right. It's like completely different from the other ones.
All different personas.
Yeah.
Completely different. Because like when you bring up like Jack Nicholson was more like the mobster type of Joker. Like kind of crazy and like would murder people obviously, but he wasn't like a psychopath, I guess you could say, like some of the other ones were.
Right.
Yeah. And they did the thing where they had Nicholson, his Joker, killed Batman's parents. And that's not like a thing besides in that movie.
Yeah, no.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Who's your favorite Batman?
Probably Christian Bale. Honestly. And it's hard to say that because of the times. Because you can go back to the 70s and 80s where it was, the show.
Yeah.
And like the TV show of it. And because my dad loves that one. And whoever the actor is that played the Joker in that series is pretty good, was really good too. I can't remember the actor's name, but that show was pretty good. Kind of corny.
Yeah.
But no, I would have to say Christian Bale just because it's like the more recent ones that I know I can go back and watch.
You know, like Robert Pattinson? You know, like Edward?
No,
No.
God,
Oh, get him out of
where
there.
is he the one that has to shoot himself up with adrenaline just to get ready to fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so dumb. Like,
And they did the scene where he ate shit too. Like he was, I know, like he's a young Batman. I guess he's learning the ropes, but I'd never see Batman like swinging and he just fucking falls and starts rolling.
Yeah.
It's like what the
You ever see Batman? The comedic spoofs of Batman and stuff?
Is that the College Humor ones?
I think so.
With Pete Holmes? That's the only
Pete
one.
Holmes, yes, thank you, Pete Holmes. Yeah, he does. He's my second favorite Batman.
You used to show me those in fucking middle school, dude. The one with Bane and shit when he's like, but we had sex with Talia.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember that one.
The one where he meets Superman and the guy playing Superman was in a movie like I guess called The Woozies or something like that, or a TV show called The Woozies.
Yeah.
And he's just roasting Superman the whole time. Like, you look like you're a character off of The Woozies. Was it crutchy? I had a strong feeling it was crutchy. He's like, you got lasers, you can shoot lasers out of your eyes, but all you use it to do is cut an iceberg or heat an old woman's porridge. I'd use that to cut off Bane's arm. He has another series too. It's where he's Professor X and he's firing all the X-Men.
Oh, that's awesome.
Those are hilarious. You should make a video reacting to one of those. Those are all funny as hell.
Oh yeah, I'd be down. That sounds funny.
That's 3.
Where are we at, Doug?
I'm doing Spider-Man right now.
Who do you think's winning Elimination Chamber, Dan?
John Cena.
That's a good one.
I think it's kind of set up for him to go for 17 and him and Cody, especially with The Rock trying to turn Cody into a bad guy.
What if he loses? Who do you think he faces?
Cena?
Randy Orton.
Yeah, that would be good. But I think Randy Orton's going to come back and like fuck with Kevin Owens for putting him out or whatever with the pile driver.
Even with RKO.
RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. Cena and Randy for one more time would be cool for sure.
Well, there's nobody left in the company that would make any sense.
Yeah. I just think they're setting everybody, like, I think they're probably going to do CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns as a triple threat. And then they might do either put Drew with those guys or do Drew and, like, Damian Priest. So then in the chamber, that
probably can be Drew and Jey Uso, or not Jey Uso, but Jimmy. Isn't that what they're currently feuding on?
Yeah, I mean, they just wrestled on SmackDown. So, I mean, I don't know if they're going to build for that for WrestleMania. But they are kind of, he is fucking with, he's still trying to go after the guys that were like with Roman, but Damian eliminated him out of the Royal Rumble. And like Damian's in the chamber too, so I can see them like setting that up.
Yeah.
And then that leaves you like Logan Paul and John Cena. And I don't think if it's Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes in the main event, I think people will fucking.
I bet the way they're setting up Charlotte's match is the way they set it up. What I saw on Thursday was Tiffany was like knocked down and she was sitting there in the ring saying all that, when she chose her and stuff.
Yeah.
But in the following week where she was down in the ring again and just goes and points to the sign.
Yeah.
I bet you it's going to look like one of those matches where Charlotte dominates her for the whole thing. At like towards the end, she gets just a surprise roll-up win or something like that.
Yeah, surprise W.
Probably. All right. Scores are done.
All right, what do we got?
All right. So in last place, but they just get a wild card because they beat Thundercats by 1.5
No.
So Eric can be very happy because Eric actually helped this with his scores. Spider-Man. So Spider-Man moves on into the wild card for right now.
Wow.
So 190 points. Well, because here's the thing too. We got next week's show, which I'm going to get into as soon as I get done revealing the scores, and we got what we revive for the battle backs.
Yep.
So a battle back can knock Spider-Man out if it still has a spot. Second place third place, I should say, 258 points. They get a wild card spot. Justice League.
Okay. That lost to Superman. Huh?
Yep. In second place with 269 points, Superman.
Yep.
They also get a wild card spot. So, Thundercats or Rugrats, Flintstones, Thundercats have all been taken out for right now. They can be revived. It is possible that they can be revived and win in a battle back.
Yeah.
But Superman gets a wild card spot for right now. In first place, and also the number 1 seed right now, is Batman the Animated Series. They got 300 points.
No surprise there.
So,
Isn't that a perfect score in bowling?
Yep.
well, so because of the addition of both Weebs and Raven, it wasn't necessarily a perfect score because a perfect score I think would have been 350.
And Mark.
Yeah.
Ones across the board.
No, I was just saying comparing it to bowling because we were doing the strikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah. So in bowling, this would definitely be a perfect score. So it's got 300 points. So it is the number 1 seed right now. Heathcliff moves down to number 2. X-Men is the number 3 seed. Your number 4 seed is Rocket Power. Your number 5 seed is Scooby-Doo. Number 6 seed is Ninja Turtles. The number 7 seed is Pokemon. The number 8 seed and the number 8 seed is number 8 seed is Real Ghostbusters, and number 9 seed is Biker Mice from Mars. All could change after next week. Next week's league, the final league next week. It is going to be, and yes, we are still doing a show, even though Elimination Chamber will be on because I am committed. Damn it! And
We're all committed. We're all going to be on the show next week. Besides Daniel.
Yeah. Well, he's invited if he chooses.
Yeah.
Next week's league is the Kids League, and your combatants are Ed, and Eddie, Kim Possible, Recess, and Life with Louie.
Never heard of that one, but
So that's your that is your Kids League next week. Now I should go ahead and say that Ed, and Eddie is not really available on streaming services right now, so you just got to go through YouTube. But I remember like a lot of the episodes because I used to watch it when Dan was little, and I also have a coach that can kind of coach me up on it.
Yeah.
And I think there are a couple episodes available on YouTube, and you can find videos.
So there you go.
So, but that
Recess
is
is my favorite.
huh?
I said Recess is my favorite.
Yeah. So we'll see who wins next week in the Kids League. And then after that, what we'll do is then like we'll start thinking about what we're going to revive. And I'll start doing like the community vote and all that after next week. So we know what other shows are going to be available to revive. But yeah, so Superman, Justice League, and Spider-Man all got wild card spots.
Oh, yeah. Did it beat Garfield, Batman, or no?
Garfield still has a wild card spot.
Yeah, but Garfield was 290, wasn't it, or something?
No, Heathcliff was 203. Batman got into 3. Batman
Was the top scorer? So
yes, Batman obliterated Heathcliff, which technically should happen in real life anyway. But Dave, go ahead and drop your Twitch handle, your gaming handle, or whatever you need to plug in the chat, or you could say it out loud and we can all, pay attention.
Yeah, I'll plug it in the chat.
Yeah. But yeah, so next week's battle, like I said, it's going to be the last league battle, and then we move on to the tournament action. And those rules are going to be a little bit different than what we have in the leagues.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see who comes out on top next week. Give this the spotlight here.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you coming on. Hopefully we'll see everybody next week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, because next week is going to be a very interesting battle, I believe. I don't know if it's going to get the score unless I can get more people in the chat room. I don't know if it's going to get the scores what tonight got, but
Yeah.
we'll see. And make sure to catch Eric on Unscripted Sports this week. He does Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Yep.
Catch Sean at Elite Doc, Twitch, and YouTube. Catch Dan and I and Eric on not only the breakdown on Wrestling Through the Years, but also the Wrestling Through the Years podcast. This upcoming week, we are going to be doing Survivor Series 2002. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, and then let's hit on out of here.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night, fellas.
Have a good night, guys. We'll see everybody next week.
See you.
Yep.
Later.
Much
And Eric,
love.
you'll take care of the shorts, please.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Thank you very much.
Share my shorts.
Love you guys.